13 because of my being out 2 of the weeks. We wanted to make sure we got this last topic covered, and it's more of an overview of looking at the first several weeks together. We're currently assessing the production of the entire roster and looking at our agents, new to business agents like yourself, and starting a new course 2 weeks from today. Same thing, 1:30. Going to be a little bit more geared towards the traditional PC. We were sort of getting a feel for the market center as a whole, and everybody's kind of what they knows and what they don't knows, kind of a thing for these last 12 plus weeks. We had some great speakers, we had some great fill-ins, we had some great content, a lot of really good stuff. Now we want to brass tacks everything. We're going to dive into a 16-week course that will be more about each individual's performance and accountability behind that performance, and reviewing their week more on a one-on-one, more of a one-on-one scenario. Our class structure like this, our setting won't change much, other than we will have a little bit more local involvement in Altoona and Johnstown. So twice a month, I'll be doing the class on location, once from Johnstown, once from Altoona, and then twice a month here in person. It will still be, we'll still conduct business as usual in this room, and we'll, hopefully get the kind of interaction from those other two markets that will, initiate, some back and forth. We've had some great luck with agents working with each other inter-market. We mentioned on the team meeting a couple of success stories already. Lisa Whitman has already asked me about an open house that she has in Crescent, which is right outside of Altoona. She has a listing there. She's looking for agents to help out with that open house. So the new course will be similar to this in nature and content, but a little bit more direct, a little bit more about accountability, a little bit more focus on production, focus on you as an agent. And we'll set up one-on-one, so we'll do stuff like that. So just to let you know, that's 2 weeks from today. This is the last session for this course that we lasted 12 plus 13 weeks, technically. We're going to take a break next week, mainly because of the holiday. And then we'll start back up on the 7th of June at 1:30. Those of you who are just jumping in, we're just going over what's coming next. We'll touch on it more at the end here, but we will be doing PC. We'll continue. We will really be focusing in on diving into topics and really getting specific with production and accountability.
So is that the sessions where we will try to be on a listing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to make it more interactive. Yes. We're going to do a little bit more. It's going to be segmented a little bit more. So we're going to do learning, action, and practice.
Okay.
So, all right. In recap of the previous 12 weeks, success in preparation leads to success in your results. Preparation gets you ready to do the work. You can say that planning is the original step and preparation is the sequel. The truth is, you can plan all you want, but if you don't prepare, you won't be ready. How do we prepare and keep going? We've talked about how do we prepare to get started. How do we prepare to keep going? Again, we need to keep remembering why. What's our big why? What are our goals? Then we want our intensity to match. It gets tiresome. We get burned out. We can feel isolated. So we want to make sure that we keep our intensity with what we're doing outside of work or outside of our careers our personal lives should be fun, should be lively. We should be having a good time. We need to match that same intensity in our careers. That way we're not giving too much of ourselves to our work, but we're also keeping our balance with our family. Take the wins every time you get one. I don't care how small they are. Make sure you're taking your wins. If you're not taking wins when you get them, no matter how insignificant they may seem to you, then the stuff that goes wrong is going to just mount and mount and mount up and mount up. So take your wins every chance you get. And then find your cheerleaders. Find them. Find
We're not cheering.
your cheerleaders. Yeah, find them for not cheering. Find your cheerleaders and make sure that you plug into them to help you celebrate those wins. All right? You're accomplishing so much by having, that energy shift and feeling that energy from your peers. We have a great synergy here in this office. It's getting better by the week. We just want to make sure, you're not feeling that left out. All right. We talked about leads, a lot about leads in the last 13 weeks. Earning those leads, you start with the people that you know, your sphere of influence or your SOI. Then you move on to people you don't know, cold calls, FISBOs, FURBOs. You nurture and grow relationships beyond your sphere of influence. Build your process for repeatability, intentionality, and purpose. Plan, be prepared, and make a plan. Reach out to your expired listings. There are not many. There's not many of them, but they are still out there. And we may start to see more and more as the months roll ahead. But don't ever take for granted those expireds. Check those expired listings, what's coming up and what's expiring. Get active on social media. Attend chamber events, nonprofit events. Research Instagram hashtags or hashtags in general. Search Pinterest for ideas. Culture from your peers. People that you know. Touch on the sphere of influence. People you already have your personal connection with will be more inclined to work with you than total strangers. Start with people you know from community activities or are connected with online to see if they know anyone that could be in need of your services. Referral from a friend is one of the most surefire ways of earning a new client. So tapping into your sphere of influence is crucial. It's absolutely crucial. People you don't know. Once you send out your feelers to the people that you are connected with, check with your neighbors, the people you meet at networking events, people you connect with through cold calling, Zillow, Realtor.com, FISBO listings. Generate a script for these. We'll find the scripts on command. Scripts are everywhere. We've done script battles here in the last 13 weeks. So there's a script for everything. Look for those scripts, practice them in the mirror. Call me. I'll practice. I'll be happy to practice scripts with you. Don't lose touch of continuing to learn and get better. Sharpen your tools. Practice those scripts. Nurture and grow. Putting together a list of warm leads is great, but just because people are interested in your services doesn't mean they'll actually hire you. In real estate, maintaining a personal connection is essential as people are trusting you with important life decisions, hefty financial assets. Continue to nurture and grow those relationships, check-ins, small gifts, well wishes, cards, letters, a personalized thank you card or personalized just checking in on you, thinking of you card does wonders. It's an amazing tool that allows people to see that personalization. Take 5 minutes and write a thinking of you card to one of your former clients or someone in your sphere of influence that maybe you don't keep in touch with all the time. Okay. We're going to be seeing tools coming out in the coming weeks that are going to help us tap into, how to tap into finding those ones that are on that fringe of your sphere of influence and maybe people that are more of acquaintances and how to figure out the data that can help us figure out whether they're ready to sell. That information is out there. Repeatability, intentionality, and purpose. We've talked a lot about intentionality, being purposeful. Being consistent, yes. Being consistent, being intentional, and being purposeful. You'll likely be constantly cycling through reaching out to people you know for referrals, finding new contacts, nurturing existing ones, further refining a process. It may sound easy enough, But it's no secret that generating real estate leads for new agents is the most difficult part of the process. Be intentional about it. Be intentional about it. Repeat. Use the MLS tools to generate an expired list, then generate an effective script for how to create the desired results for expired listings. Check your expired listings in your MLS. The list is growing. A year ago, a little less than a year ago, there might have been 2 or 3 here and there. Last week, when I checked hours over in Altoona, there was a half a dozen. So they're starting to grow a little bit in numbers. Not great, but if you get in the habit now of checking that, when the time comes that the market's shifted completely, that's going to be a practice that the successful agents that are going to thrive in the shift are going to already be exercising. Okay. Nonprofit chamber events, all about building a network within your community, social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. What am I forgetting? Twitter, I mentioned that. LinkedIn, that's a big one. LinkedIn's a big one. So make sure you keep yourself open to those. Hashtagging, if you guys have seen my posts, I hashtag the same thing every time. Keller Williams, real estate, realtor life, love it. I hashtag the same stuff every time. It's not as widely used in a Facebook or Twitter format. Twitter is probably where you see a lot of it used frequently, but not in real estate. Instagram is where you see the application, of hashtagging being used. But the more you generate that within search results, if somebody sees a hashtag or is growing a hashtag or happens to click on it, it's just creating more opportunity to be recognized. So using hashtags can work. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was talking to Alan. He walked past. I'm trying to adjust the chair.
Oh, okay. Hashtags. These hashtags here, the ones that I pulled up, the ones that have been kind of most widely used. So even if you yourself go in and check these hashtags, you might find ways within the information or the data that you're looking for, or that you're searching for these hashtags, you might find something that may work. Yeah. All right. There we go. Pinterest, a great idea source. If you're looking for ideas of how to, dress something up, like if you're going to do a flyer, Pinterest is a great source for that. What do I say in my ads? If I'm going to put a Facebook campaign together, what am I going to say? If I'm going to do an email that I want to send out to try to get listings, what am I going to say? Of course, we have scripts for that in command. Pinterest has a lot of really great creative ideas as well to help dress up your marketing and dress up your lead generation a little bit. So don't be afraid to check out Pinterest for some more ideas. Peers, probably the most widely underused source of lead generation. Tap into a lead source that not many tap into. Your teammates, your lenders, your home inspectors, your insurance agents, attorneys, title companies, etc. We will be having, when we start the new session, we're going to be having more content, more speakers coming in to deliver content to you about how you can reach these peers or cross brand with them so that you're getting your message out there in a setting that is targeting not only your prospective client base, but the client base of maybe an insurance agent, title company, whatever. So we'll be having a lot of the cross branding opportunity and people coming to speak about that with the new session that begins in 2 weeks. Build a string of trust. These are like clients. Your peers are like clients. Treat them with the same respect and the same, with the same motivation you're building a business with. So work these lead sources. From goal, 36 transactions settled, 12 months, 3 hours per day. 36, 12, and 3. That's our lead generation to plan. 36, 12, and 3. We talked about it right from the jump 13 weeks ago. 36 transactions over 12 months. We got to lead gen 3 hours a day. So plan your day, create the conversation. We talked about that in day one in here. We did a breakout where we left the room and had you guys create a conversation. We're going to do more of that in the next session where we do small breakouts and more action and more practice. So we'll be doing more of that, but learning how to create the conversation, increasing your database, building that engine. Contacts are your database. Every conversation with every member of your sphere of influence could lead to your next transaction. The bigger your database, creating more business. If your sphere of influence is not in your database or not in your contacts on command, get them in there. Get them in there. Build your database up. We've gone over it time and time again. We're going to be doing assignments, lack of a better term, where we'll be doing, hey, how many contacts can you put in over the next week? I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to put in so many contacts a week. I'm going to challenge you to make those contacts a conversation. I'm going to challenge you to take that conversation and make it an opportunity. We're going to work on making that engine run once we get it built. For now, if you have a sphere of influence, meaning contacts in your phone, Facebook contact, whatever, and they're not in your command contacts, get them there. Top reasons that agents fail. And we're going to see a lot of agents fall off over the next 30 to 60 days as we finish the renewal period here next week, which, by the way, 1 week from today is the deadline to renew your license. If you don't have your CE done, get it done. If you've been licensed, if you got your license after December 1st of 2021, you don't have to worry about it. You can go on and renew. You still have to go on to PALS, click the renew tab, and it may tell you, oh, you have to submit blah, blah, blah. Just pay your renewal, send it in. That way it's fine. But we were told by a member of the licensing board that December 1st was the cutoff. So if you've been licensed, if you got your license after December 1st, 2021, you do not have to take the 14-hour CE course. Okay. All right. And I'll be available for any questions about that, as we move forward, if anybody has any questions this week about getting the renewals done. Inadequate prospecting, no follow-up with clients and leads, limited knowledge of lead generation, lack of a business plan, lack of marketing. Those are the top 5 reasons that agents fail, generally within their first year to year and a half. Are you really putting forth the effort to prospect? You have to ask yourself. And if you are, I spent 3 hours, 3 days last week prospecting. I didn't get anything. Number one, that doesn't mean it's not working. You just have to keep prospecting. It's a numbers game. Keep working on getting better at what you're going to say when you're prospecting. Keep working on those scripts. So follow up when you do get involved in a conversation with a potential prospect. Did you follow up with them? When's the last time you have followed up with them? Go into command. Did you load them into contacts? And if you did have a conversation with them and you have talked to them about possibly doing business with them, have you turned them into an opportunity in command? If you haven't, you need to. Now you can create some accountability. Now you can create the habit of using command, what it's designed to be used for, to help you grow your business. So following up with those prospects. Limited knowledge of lead generation. We had a workshop on it 2 months ago. So in April. So lead generation should at this point not be that much of an issue. The ideas are out there. We'll continue to work with you. We will build campaigns with you. Starting on the 7th, we'll have a 16-week course. We're going to start some really aggressive, idea setting. We're going to create assignments and do projects. We're going to make it fun. We're going to enjoy the results more than anything else. So lack of a business plan. What's your business plan? If you don't have one yet, we need to sit down and make one. What are your strategies going to look like? How are you going to make your week work for you? What ways can you block schedule? As we talked last week about Joe talked about last week, block scheduling. How is that going to work for you? Are you utilizing it? If not, let's start. And then marketing. How can I market myself? We had somebody in at noon today from American Lifestyle Magazine to talk about a branding tool that they have available. We're going to bring that person back in a few weeks to talk more about new agents and how new agents can affordably put their brand out there and in a unique way, unique to, you know, an area and to your client base, affordable, making it a branding tool for you. So we're going to have ideas like that. We'll have speakers like that. We're going to continue to work on helping you build your marketing campaign. Fill in the blanks. This is what I want everybody to think about over the next 14 days. Because when we start week 1, PC, if you're in the PC, on the PC roster, you'll be notified. You'll be in PC. And if you're in PC, you want to be able to answer these. You want to be able to fill in these blanks. This week, I will, to achieve blank by Friday, I have to blank today. I'm going to do it from blank to blank. I'm going to do it. Where am I going to do it? Write out your plan. This week, I'm going to blank. In order to achieve blank by Friday, I have to do what blank today. I'm going to do it from blank to blank. I'm going to do it. Where am I going to do it? We've talked about block scheduling ad nauseum. We're going to talk more about it in the next 16 weeks. If you're in PC, you'll get the invite to be a part of PC. You're going to come in. We're going to work diligently on making sure you keep to your schedule and you're holding yourself accountable to achieve what you want to achieve week in and week out, day in and day out. Remember, farming, or Allie's favorite, green leafing, networking events, what's going on around us. It's summertime. The farmers markets are opening up. The parades are starting. You know, the walks are starting. The 5Ks, which I know I'm going to take part in. Yeah. The bike races. I mean, you name it. The outdoor events are happening. It's a good place to get recognized. Those events have marketing opportunities attached to them. Some of them aren't that expensive. You know, think of doing something. You could just approach the coordinator and say, hey, would you mind putting some flyers up? They may do it. You never know. What are we guaranteed? What are we guaranteed if we never take a shot? Nothing. That's right. Exactly. Nothing. And then sphere of influence campaigns. Remember to market to your sphere of influence. Your sphere of influence is just as instrumental as the prospect you haven't met yet. Okay? So make sure that we're hitting those farming opportunities, the networking events, and we are campaigning to our sphere of influence, not just going outside the box and creating new farming techniques. We got to make sure we're hitting our sphere of influence. Do not take for granted that they know that you're a real estate agent. It's easy to do that. I'll get a call. Jan's friend knows somebody that knows somebody. I know because they know I'm an agent. They may forget. They may forget. Top of mind awareness is just as important for your sphere of influence as it is to the casual prospect you haven't met yet. I'll say that again. Top of mind awareness is just as important to your sphere of influence as it is to the casual prospect that you have yet to meet. So don't take for granted that your sphere of influence knows who you are. How to log into Command in about 30 minutes. We're going to have, I believe, Command training with Chris Keller, right? She's still going to be here at 2:30? I believe so. Yeah. So Command training, that hasn't changed. So if you don't know, make sure you log in for that. Be a part of that. If you don't know and need to know, reach out to myself, email the front desk, jump on the Facebook group, ask questions. We have had a lot of very good back and forth with questions and getting questions answered on our internal inward Facebook page. in the last few months. And I like seeing that, the dialogue and the going back and forth. That platform's there for that purpose, guys. Don't be afraid, don't be shy to put out there that you need answers to a question or you need help with something. Because we're all here to help each other. But of course, you can log into Command, go to Connect, search just about anything, and find it. You'll find content to the moon in Command. As I mentioned earlier, what's coming next? We're generating a PC roster. Productivity coaching program will begin 2 weeks from today. It will be 1:30 every Tuesday. And then we will have our evening recap as well, which will be an evening course. Again, as I mentioned at the top of this session, we're really going to dive deep. We're going to be more topic focused, more practice, a lot of scripting, some script battling, some script work, and accountability, yours and mine. So we will have the PC roster settled by probably next week, by the beginning of next week, probably next Tuesday. So keep an eye out for that. I'll be reaching out to each and every one of you that are going to be on that roster, and we're going to kick it off in 2 weeks. So be prepared for that. Any questions?
Well, I was wondering if you can go back to one of the slides that you had up. It was in the beginning. It kind of had all of the steps of what we should be doing.
Yeah. 1 second. Start from the beginning. You said from the beginning?
Yep.
I hit start from beginning and it didn't let me start from beginning.
Oh.
Okay.
One more. 2 more. Or was it? Yeah, this one.
That one?
Running leads, yeah. Thank you.
Huh? Yep.
We could probably spend the next 30 minutes on that slide right there.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we can. Start earning leads, starting with people you know. We touched on your sphere of influence earlier, right? We don't want to take that one for granted. We want to make sure we don't overlook the idea that they know that you just got into real estate or that you've been in real estate for a minute or, whatever. We need to make sure that top of mind awareness is just as consistent with them as it is, that casual prospect we haven't met. The people that you don't know, there are scripts for FSBOs. There are a lot, and Ignite has like 14 pages of FSBO scripts. We'll practice the daylights out of those for sure and go over them in one-on-one sessions. So, did you have a question? No.
I didn't know.
Okay. All right. Nurture and grow your relationships beyond your circle. Nurture and grow those relationships. Who here can give me an example of, we talked about this in week 2, I think, or 3, where we were talking about nurturing and growing relationships. Can anyone out there give me an example of a relationship that they've nurtured and have grown over the last 12 weeks? Anyone?
I'll share. Over the last few weeks, I've been nurturing and growing relationship with inspectors specifically, because I've been working with a lot of buyers. So I've been trying to follow up with them and just keep in contact with them because they see a lot of houses. And you never know where that can go. And then contractors are another group of people that I've been trying to nurture and grow relationship with.
Have you? That's great. That's good because that's what you want to. Those are the types of relationships you want to make sure you're growing and nurturing. Have you had anything from that yet, or is it just you're really still early in the game with that?
Well, actually, one of the contractors that I have been in touch with, it was a family friend. He referred me a listing, so it was able to reciprocate because I was, referring him out for the people who needed help, and he actually was able to give me, a solid back with a listing in Penn Hills that will be going live soon.
How about that? How much did that cost you?
Nothing at all.
There you go. Absolutely. All from nurturing a relationship, and creating an opportunity from something that is right in front of us all the time. Home inspectors, lenders. We have a lender that sits 30 feet away. We've had other members of our industry come in and speak. Those are networking opportunities. Anytime you have a chance to share that information, you can begin nurturing that relationship. It works. It works. It's impactful, and it's lead generation. That what are you spending money on for? Time. Creating and nurturing that relationship. Time.
Anybody nurturing agent relationships for referrals?
The funny thing is, I got my business card, right? My business cards. And as I'm pulling some out to give out, I find another agent's cards.
Really?
Yeah. So I sent her an email. She's in Atlanta.
Who is it?
I would have to look at that email to think of what her name is. So I introduce myself and I tell her, I don't believe in circumstance.
Yeah.
Like, I have your cards. This is my name. I'm an agent here. Hey, let me know if anyone in Atlanta is looking for something in Pittsburgh, and I'll be sure to return the favor. And she said, "Oh, certainly." She said, I totally don't believe in chances either. Like, and you have a friend now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
It was so bizarre. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna send her an email.
All right, so I love that. That might be my favorite thing of the week. So I have a challenge for you. In fact, I'm going to do it with you right now. Everybody at their computer, except for you. Is everybody at their? Everybody's at their computer, right? Because you guys are on Zoom.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Type in Google Pittsburgh Airport. In Google, and when you do that, it says Pittsburgh International Airport homepage, flight status, and then it says NonStop Destinations. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Cool. Click on NonStop Destinations. Everything that's a blue dot on the map is a year-round destination, and everything that's red is seasonal. My challenge to you, you guys see that map there with those destinations? My challenge to you is to pick a blue dot and reach out to an agent in that city in KW and say, hey, my name's Jayla, or my name's Darren. I'm an agent in Pittsburgh, and I know that there are daily flights between Pittsburgh and Dallas, or Pittsburgh and Nashville, or whatever, right? And hey, I wanted to know who's your go-to for referrals in Pittsburgh. Anybody gonna take me up on my challenge? Jay was like, I'm in. Okay, I love it. Because there are immigration patterns that you can track. Actually, Atlanta's a really good one.
Her name was Monique Durant.
Monique Durant. Love it. There are immigration patterns, and usually those follow NonStop Destinations. There you go.
Oh, who we lose? Lost them.
Jay.
Jay.
I found her. Yeah, on Facebook.
You said they're already friends.
And we're gonna be.
We're gonna be.
Requested or planned.
All right. We'll do this, look a little bit more at this one. Building a process for repeatability, intentionality, and purpose. Whom here has had struggles with repeatability, consistency?
Me, of course. 3-year-old changing my whole career.
Right.
Repeatability and consistency is definitely something I'm struggling with right now.
Okay. What is it, what's consistent about that inconsistency? What seems to be the most repeatable offense, if you will, that causes it?
I believe that once I get him out and off, I'll have coffee, get on my computer, and then I'll get stuck into trying to prepare for when he gets home. So it's like, I want to make sure this is right when he gets home so I can get back to getting on my computer, and I never make it there. That's the consistency and the inconsistency.
Okay.
Like I'll start off good, but then it's like, okay, all right, I'm trying to prepare, make sure I have everything straight. So when he comes home, I won't have to do this, I won't have to do that, I won't have to do that. But then that's what I'll do.
So you, where in your day does that typically happen? Where does that typically occur? What time is it?
About 11:30,
What time do you sit down to start?
about 10.
So you get about an hour and a half in,
Yeah,
and then you break off to what?
probably grab something to eat,
Right.
put a little in the washer, do something, and then it's just ping pong, ping pong, ping ping from there. And I
So-
never get back.
So that first burnout break that you take, you don't ever come back.
Right.
How can you build a way for yourself to come back?
That's what I've been thinking of. Because it's the same every day. That's what I'm trying to make a way to do. Because once I do bing bong, all that, get caught up, it's time to go pick them up.
Other than eating, what between 11:30 and 12:30 do you have to do? Yeah. Because we have to eat. We have to take care.
Yeah.
Self-care is important. So we have to make sure we're eating. So between 11:30 and 12:30, what's besides eating?
Most days, nothing.
Okay. When do you have to pick him up?
2.
2 o'clock. So somewhere between 11:30 and 2 o'clock, other than eating, you're sidetracking yourself with the other things that you feel like
I need to do
you need to
in
do.
preparation
Right.
for life, home life, mom life, life.
Where else in your schedule can you build those preparations in? Where else in your schedule can you plug in, I gotta get that load of laundry done? Okay, and make that consistent period of time when you do that. Where else can you plug in that I need to get, what else did you mention that you get, sometimes get lost in life?
Yeah,
Preparation.
just preparing for the day or the next day, taking food out for dinner, getting clothes ready for the next day.
So you're
Just always
taking,
trying to prepare.
you're taking those 10 to 15 minute tasks,
And
you're piling them up on top of each other,
yes,
and you're killing a quarter of your day in one shot.
Yeah.
That's your momentum. It's gone.
mhm.
So you need to shrink that down to one or two of the, one of those tasks at that moment, at that point. You've eaten, you've prepped a little on. Now you go back. You need to come back to your day. Come back to your lead gen. You need to come back to your preparation of your planning your week or executing your week or cultivating, and you need to reestablish dominance in that period of the day. Set up that next 15-minute, 20-minute, whatever project for your day at the same point every day. and make that your next step aside. I know for our dual career agents especially, this is a challenge because you're working a shift, whether you're waiting tables, tending bar, or whatever it is that your dual career is. You're on your feet, you're hustling, you're moving, blah, 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 blah. You get home. Now I gotta sit in front of a computer and do this, and this. Okay? What are you doing in between that's allowing you the self-care moments to get centered again in preparation for, I want, again, that 80-20 rule. I want 80% results and 20% effort. Okay, how can I give the maximum amount of effort, healthy, productive effort in this time frame? When doesn't matter. Your dual career, when doesn't matter as much as how effective can it be. If you work a shift, or you said you have till 2 o'clock, right? From 2 to when? When's your next available? When's your next open window?
3, 4-ish when he naps.
Okay, so 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Oh, 4 o'clock. So between the time 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, okay, say call 3:30, that hour and a half, that's all about him, right?
Right.
What are you doing between that 3 to start getting back into it? Probably nothing.
Mentally,
Nothing,
yeah, by that
right?
time it's like,
Okay,
the day's over.
you need to recenter yourself.
Yeah. I keep saying that
When's
to
your most
myself too.
effective time?
Right after I drop him off, from like 9:30 to 11.
So if you absolutely crushed that hour and a half every day and then let the rest of it fall to shit, how much further could you get your business in 5 days?
If I'm consistent, I believe a lot further. And that's what I'm trying to get to, the consistency.
Just start with one day. Just do tomorrow. That's it. Start with one day. Block it out. Like pretend like 9:30 to 11 is just your golden hour. I've seen entire careers blossom on 2 hours a day because all it takes is just like really effectively like getting things off. Because like if you did 9:30 to 11 and you lead generated or you made some contacts, you would just like really super focused, hunkered down. They call it building a bunker, right? You just hunker down for that time. Then you go off and you do your other shift. When would you be back to being available later in the day? 4.
Ideally 4, yeah.
Right. So you could lead generate from 9:30 to 11, and then at 4 o'clock, if you had any appointments that you'd set up in the previous days, boom, you just go on your appointment.
My point is with you, and I know with the real dual careers I've run into this, is that time in between those tasks. What buffer, 15, 20-minute self-care are you doing to get yourself centered so that your effort in that next window is meaningful and intentional? What we have a tendency to do, and I'm the guiltiest of the guilty, believe me as I sit here, if it wasn't for that woman sitting up in the MCA's office, I wouldn't be heading in the direction I'm heading and with making things more intentional with my efforts. Building those times in between, the small little windows of getting yourself recentered, catching your breath. I call them let-up moments. Joe and I talked about let-up moments. You know, we don't get a lot of them. We don't realize how many we don't get till we get to the end of the day. Our feet hurt, our head hurt. The last thing you want to do is be bothered with, you know, trivial things at home that aren't really trivial, right? They're meaningful things that happen, but we're so burned out. We're not giving ourselves those times in between of stacking our schedule to get centered again, whether it's meditation or yoga or whatever. Go for a walk, take a breath, recenter yourself, go back to your big why, revisit why you're doing it. Have some understanding about what self-care means to you so that when you dive into that project, you're energized again, you're intentional. The effort that you have first thing in the morning is that way because you're rested and you're energized and your brain's functioning at full capacity. You just had an hour and a half blitz with picking your son up and all the things and all the moving pieces and moving parts that happen in that time period. Now you got to go back to it. Now I gotta go back to it. Or, okay,
It's more that.
Yeah, right. but it's, and a lot of it is just because you're not taking 25 minutes to woo-saw yourself, you know?
Right.
In the book 12-week year, they call them buffer blocks.
Buffer blocks, thank you, yes. Yep. That's what, I mean, you build that in to give yourself a chance to get recentered. But make that activity that you choose consistent. Because if you just make it something different all the time, then it's going to turn into a habitual thing that won't allow you to regather and regroup. So make it just as consistent as everything else in your schedule. And make it meaningful to you for self-care purposes and re-energize. Okay? Anybody else having those types of, I know Jayla, you and I have talked about it. I'm not gonna out you on here, but we've talked about those in-between moments and taking that time, you know, and driving your car is not taking that time, right? Leaving waiting tables and driving to an open house is not, the drive time is not the downtime. The downtime is literally stopping everything, not scrolling through Facebook, not checking news feeds, none of that. It's literally stopping everything for your brain to get re-energized and get refocused, right? Jill is shaking her head because we've been over it. Yep. It's more, listen, your results are going to be more readily, they're going to be more effective. You're going to be more effective in getting results if you're rested, you're refocused and re-energized. All right. Any questions on that, guys?
Nope.
All right. We're getting down to the last few minutes here. We talked briefly about being active on social media and being involved in some local events. I want to go around the room and get some ideas of things that are coming up or things that you've noticed where you've attended and been effective or going to attend, and what your plan is. What's your plan going to be if you go to an event? So let's go around the room. Any events coming up? Jayla, you go to a lot of stuff, yeah?
Yeah, I actually have an event tomorrow. I'll be speaking. It's a School of Sales event. So I'm friends with an investment advisor and he's hosting this event just to teach about the psychology of sales. So, you know, since I'm in real estate agent, he asked me to come up and speak a little bit. So my intention going in there is just to educate people and share my experience, you know, coming into sales and how I've overcame. But I also want to be able to, you know, share my story and open up to people so that they're able to open up to me and tell me, you know, their real estate goals and what they want to do, just to have a two-way conversation. So that's my goal for the event that I'll be at tomorrow if anybody wants to come.
Can we watch it online?
What'd you say?
Can I watch it online?
Yeah, there is a Zoom link. I will post it once I get it tomorrow. It's in person and Zoom. So I'll post that for you guys.
Sweet.
Good deal. I like it. I love sales psychology. I love that. That's one of my favorite things. So I'm be dialing into that for sure. Any other events? Anything coming up? Anything you get involved in?
Well, past, I took opportunity to the Moms for Mothers mortgage thing that Dollar Bank has. And I was able to speak with one of the lenders, not the lenders, the loan originators there. And I basically stood outside and at the parking lot on my way to my car, passing out cards. There was no solicitation inside. I saw that. But once we got out, I passed out cards at the parking lot, inside the event, right outside, you know, I did that.
Awesome.
That is good. We'll talk more. You and I will go into how to get around that no solicitation. It's not really getting around it. You're just having a conversation, not soliciting anything, but you're creating that conversation that creates a relationship. And what's that business card worth to you?
And so many people was like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. I was thinking of what realtor did I know? Like, just, you were so smart to come here.
Yeah.
You know.
You hit it, that was like prime
I
time.
took 20 cards. I was like, if I give out 10, I'll be happy. I went home with 1 card.
Yeah,
Awesome.
good, good. Jail, I got a challenge for you.
She already got mine. How many can she get?
I'm up for another one.
All right, how many you can get is the challenge Joe had. I have one for you.
No, mine was the airport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and connecting with agents in different states. I
Gotcha.
got you, Joe. I'm here with you. And what's up with you, Doug?
Well, I think I want to see how many of those folks that you have the opportunity to network with tomorrow land in your opportunity pipeline.
Okay, I can do
I
that.
want to see at least 3.
Cake.
I'm gonna all cake. All cake. All right. All right. Well, this room, guys, will stay open, of course, because we have.
She texted me she's running late.
Oh, she is. Okay. All right. Okay. You have to run?
Yeah.
You'll be in next course.
Yes, of course.
So I'll connect with you over the next 10 days,
Okay.
and we'll set up some regular consistent times for you and I to meet, and be extremely intentional about, production and working,
That has actually been my new word, my word of the month, intentional.
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 it was a theme of Mega,
Trying to
Gary's
be
theme, it was
intentional
Gary's
about
theme in Mega Camp
Every
last
card
year.
I place, every conversation I have,
Yeah.
every event I attend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Mega Camp's coming up in August. Last August, it was Gary's theme in Mega Camp, was intentionality. So anything else?
I love Chris's courses. I'll probably listen to Chris.
I don't know when she's gonna get here. She was running late from the listing appointment. So.
Anything else, guys?
Nothing over here.
Okay.